Should I read?
Okay. Yeah, okay, Madhuri.
So I'm reading from book, right?
Yeah, you can read from wherever you want. Yeah.
Okay. So, Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Krishna, Himachal Padaya, Gauravani Pracharane, Nirvishesh Shinivadi Paschatya Deshakarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityanand Shri Advaita Darshi Asadi all Bhaktivan Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 41. Fraternal devotion. When a devotee is permanently situated in devotional service.
Madhuri, can you just pause for a minute? Are you able to hear her clearly?
Yes, Prabhuji. Others
Okay.
can also confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, now when you spoke, it's clear. But when you're reading, it's not as clear.
Okay. When a devotee is permanently situated in devotional service and by different symptoms of ecstasy, he has developed and matured a fraternal mellow or flavor in relationship with the personality of Godhead, his feeling is called fraternal love of Godhead. The impetus for such fraternal love of God is God himself. When one is liberated and discovers his eternal relationship with the Supreme Lord, the Lord himself becomes impetus for increasing fraternal love. The eternal associates of the Lord in Vrindavan have described this as follows. The Lord, Hari, whose bodily hue is like the Indranil jewel, whose smiling is as beautiful as the kunda flower, whose silk dress is as yellow as golden autumn foliage, whose chest is beautified with garlands of flowers, and who is always playing upon his flute. This enemy of Agha demon is always attracting our hearts by wandering about Vrindavan. There are similar statements of fraternal love expressed outside the jurisdiction of Vrindavan. When the sons of Pandu, headed by Maharaj Yudhishthir, saw Krishna in his four-handed form on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, holding his conch shell, disc, club, and lotus flower, they completely forgot themselves and became merged in the ocean of nectarian happiness. This shows how the sons of Pandu, King Yudhishthir, Bhima, Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev, were all caught up in fraternal love for Krishna. Sometimes the different names, forms, paraphernalia, and transcendental qualities provoke fraternal love. For instance, Krishna's nice dress, his strongly built body, the all auspicious symptoms on his body, his knowledge of different languages, his learned teachings in Bhagavad Gita, his uncommon genius in all fields of endeavor, his exhibition of expert knowledge, his mercy, his chivalry, his behavior as a conjugal lover, his intelligence, his forgiveness, his attraction for all kinds of men, his opulence and his happiness, all provoke fraternal love. The impetus for fraternal love upon seeing the associates of Krishna in Vrindavan is also very natural, for their personal bodily features, their qualities, and their dress are all equal to Krishna's. These associates are always happy in their service to Krishna, and they are generally known as Vayasayas, or friends of the same age. The Vaishyas are fully confident of protection by Krishna. Devotees sometimes pray, let us offer our respectful obeisances unto the Vaishyas of Krishna, who are firmly convinced of Krishna's friendship and protection, and whose devotion to Krishna is ever fixed. Jai. They are fearless and on an equal level with Krishna. They discharge their transcendental loving devotional service. They are fearless and on a level equal with Krishna, they discharge their transcendental loving devotional service. Such eternal Vaishyas are also found beyond the jurisdiction of Vrindavan in places such as Dwarka and Hastinapur. Except for Vrindavan, all the places of Krishna's pastimes are called Puras, Purs, towns. Mathura and Hastinapur, the capital of the Kurus, are both Puras. Personalities like Arjuna, Bhima, Draupadi, and Sri Dama Brahman are counted among Krishna's fraternal love in the Puras. How the sons of Pandu, the Pandavas, enjoy Krishna's association is described as follows. When Sri Krishna arrived in Indraprasth, the capital of the Kurus, Maharaj Yudhishthir immediately came out to smell the flavor of Krishna's head. It is a Vedic custom that a superior smells the head of his subordinates when the subordinates offer respect to the superior by touching his feet. Similarly, Arjuna and Bhim embraced Krishna with great jubilation, and the two younger brothers, namely Nakul and Sahadev, touched the lotus feet of Krishna with tears in their eyes and offered their respects. In this way, all the five Pandava brothers, enjoyed the fraternal friendship of Krishna in transcendental manner. Of the five Pandavas, Arjun is the most intimately connected with Krishna. He has a nice bow called Gandhi in his hand. His thighs are compared to the trunks of the elephants, and his eyes are always reddish. When Krishna and Arjun are together on a chariot, they become celestial beauties, pleasing to the eyes of everyone. It is said that once Arjuna was lying on his bed with his head upon Krishna's lap and was talking and joking with Krishna in great relaxation, enjoying Krishna's company with smiling and great satisfaction. As far as Vyasa's friends in Vrindavan are concerned, they become greatly distressed when they cannot see Krishna even for a moment. There is a following prayer by a devotee for the Vyasyas in Vrindavan. All glories to Krishna's Vyasyas, who are just like Krishna in their age, qualities, pastimes, dress, and beauty. They are accustomed to playing on their flutes made of palm leaves, and they all have buffalo horn bugles ornamented like Krishna's with jewel such as Indranil and with gold and coral. They are always jubilant like Krishna. May these glorious companions of Krishna always protect us. The Vaisyas in Vrindavan are in such intimate friendship with Krishna that sometimes they think themselves as good as Krishna. Here is an instance of such friendly feeling. When Krishna was holding up Govardhan Hill with his left hand, the Vaisyas said, "Dear friend, you have been standing for last 7 days and nights without any rest. This is very troublesome for us because we see that you have undertaken a severely laborious task. We think, therefore, that you need not continue to stand in that way holding the hill. You can just transfer it on to Sudama's hands. We are very much aggrieved to see you in this position. If you think that Sudama is not able to support Govardhan Hill, then at least you should change hands. Instead of supporting it with your left hand, please transfer it. Please transfer it to your right hand so that we can give your hand a massage. Jai. This is an instance of intimacy, showing how much the Vaisyas consider themselves to be equal to Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 12th chapter, verse 11, Sukdev Goswami tells King Parikshit, "My dear king, Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead to the learned transcendentalist. He is the supreme happiness for the impersonalist. He is the supreme worshipable deity for the devotee, and he is just like an ordinary boy to one who is under the spell of Maya." And just imagine these cowherd boys are now playing with the Supreme Person as though they were on equal level. By this, anyone can understand that these boys must have accumulated heaps of results of pious activities to enable them to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in such intimate friendship. There is a
Mati, okay, just hold on, just hold on. So here, actually, I have a little bit of asthma since the last few days. So, I mean, I'll speak a little slowly, and I may not be able to speak for a long stretch of time also. So, one thing that we need to see here is that generally the fortune to be associating with Krishna like this is accumulated by heaps of pious activities, heaps of pious activities. So, which means that even the chance to get Krishna consciousness, the fact that generally devotional service, it is said that is performed after liberation. But we, even in our conditioned state, we are able to perform pure devotional service by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we should not forget that we, as Prabhupada would often say, that I'm placing you on the High Court's judge's seat. Now be on that seat and acquire the qualifications. So, which means that by the practice of bhakti, we should be able to acquire all the qualifications of Krishna consciousness spontaneously. Let me give an example. What should be the example? Okay, cleanliness. Prabhupada said that cleanliness is not next to godliness. Cleanliness is godliness. You know, Burijan Prabhu in his book, Life with the Glorious Master, he says, cleanliness is not, Prabhupada said, cleanliness is not next to godliness, cleanliness is godliness. So there was an instance where Prabhupada was, I think this was in London, I can't recollect where exactly it was. But Prabhupada is walking out the door and walking out of the gate, and there was a Mataji who was holding the Bhagavad Gita and very nicely reading the Bhagavad Gita as Prabhupada was exiting the gate. Prabhupada, however, had something else in his mind. He chastised her because right in front of her, there was a puddle of dirty water or puddle of some dirt there. You know? And Prabhupada said, instead of reading the Bhagavad Gita like this, why don't you clear up that dirt? You know, so taking to Krishna consciousness does not give us the right to overlook what are all the concomitant elements of devotional service. We may perform a very wonderful, we may be in our rooms and chant very nicely, but if the room is dirty, something is wrong with our consciousness. Something is wrong with our consciousness. And similarly, sometimes we may think, oh, Mangalarti is important, or this is important, that is important. The room may be in a terrible mess, which means, again, we are in Tamoguna. So we are using Krishna consciousness as just a means to escape. But we'll have to face our realities, which means that we haven't understood the point that Krishna consciousness means to practice Krishna consciousness so that all these qualities come naturally and it should be present. It should be present. You know, for example, this quality of cleanliness, very, very important. The Prabhupada just could not tolerate any form of uncleanliness. Even in fact, when the Krishna Balaram temple was opened, he went into one of those small rooms. You know, these are the corners of, the corners as we enter the main gate on the left and the right, Vrindavan temple, you have two small cabin kind of rooms. Of course, they're not wooden cabins, they're concrete cabins, nicely decorated. I mean, but nicely carved. And Prabhupada went into one of those rooms and he looked at the devotees and he said, "What is this?" Devotees didn't know what to say. Prabhupada said, "I have eyes, you don't have eyes." You know, and then he showed them on the top of the fan, there was a bird's nest. So Prabhupada was like revolutionary clean. Eh, So this is something which, I mean, I'm just giving you one example. So when it says heaps of pious activities, uh, uh, I mean, these pious souls have gathered. We cannot think, oh, we have been exempt from all this. We can just chant Hare Krishna and go. That's fine. We have been given a great fortune, but we cannot neglect the responsibility that comes with that fortune also. It is our business to ensure that we wear clean clothes. We don't mess up with our places where we live. We keep our places clean. This is a very important priority for Prabhupada. In fact, you saw that she was reading Bhagavad Gita verses, which is a transcendental activity. Very nicely she was reading. Prabhupada said, "What is this nonsense? You clean up that place first." So, like that, we shouldn't forget that there is something called pleasing Prabhupada, which is following the sadhana bhakti. There's something called displeasing Srila Prabhupada, which is not following sadhana bhakti and also not following the uh, basic things that he expected from normal civilized human beings, cleanliness, and so many other things. Like okay. Also, this heaps of pious activities just reminds me that uh, reminds me that. That the kind of pious activity that it takes, pious means here in Krishna conscious activities, to attain this is extraordinary. We have been given that fortune just by that, just by it's called costless, right? Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has just given it to us. Of course, Srila Prabhupada as a representative came and gave it to us. Now, it is meaningless for any one of us to think that we are anybody in Krishna consciousness. We are nobody. When even the best among us is nobody. That is a sign, that is the consciousness of a devotee. That a devotee never thinks that they are the best. Because the problem is, the moment you think you're the best, then you will start envying other people. And when you start envying other people, then you forget what is envying other people means you start looking down on other people. And when you start looking down on other people, then you think that all of them are worthless. They're just jealous of us. They're all kinds of things. So the whole problem starts with thinking that we are somebody. So the moment we don't think that we are somebody, we are nobody. That's it. Our business is to remain a servant of the servant of servant of servant of servant of the pure devotee. So this is a very important thing that we should keep in mind, that we have not accumulated all these heaps of pious activities. Yet we are sitting here today and reading the Krishna book. What fortune is that? It's not, we have not accumulated heaps of pious activities to be hearing these. Where did that good fortune come? It came from Prabhupada. So we should take full advantage of that good fortune and also give due importance to the good fortune, not think that we are somebody and kind of ignore things and think that we are great and ignore things like what Prabhupada wanted us to do, like cleanliness and things like that. I know that this may throw up some questions. So if there are any questions on this, we'll take some questions and then before we continue reading. Looks like there's none. So, Anindita Mata, you can continue.
Can I ask a question?
Yes. Who's that? Rukmini Mata, Harisiri Mata. Yes.
Rukmini Harisiri. Yes. Prabhuji, I was having this issue that I'm a cleaning freak. Something is, we say that excess of anything is bad. And I'm a cleaning freak. It takes so much of my time that at that time I could read, I could do other services, but my time goes in just cleaning part. First problem. Second question. I have seen many devotees, like my friends, they are seniors to me, but they treat me as a friend. So I have seen them. They are not very, they don't keep. They try, but they just by seeing, I can see that they are not able to keep their environment or where they stay, their room so nicely, but they are the best in service. And
What do you
I
mean
have
best in
seen
service? What do you mean best in service means what?
best in services, like I know one Mataji, she serves in temple for 7-8 hours, and she's in charge there. I will not take name here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
like this, but I know her personal thing also, because she treats me as a friend. So but to how to see, first of all, my problem that I'm a cleaning freak. Second, how to see that devotee, because she is serving so amazingly in the temple, and what I end up doing, just doing cleaning in my room. So how to understand these two things? Third, I have one more friend. She doesn't have much interest in this, but she has lolium in chanting holy names. So I have seen myself, and I have seen two my friends. One is like she is doing service, another is like she likes to chant so much. So how should I see everyone, Prabhuji?
We are supposed to please Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada was revolutionary clean. There's no, I mean, there is every single instance you can see it in the Lilamur there. It was revolutionary clean. So if you want to please Prabhupada, you have to do what you're doing. There's no exception to that. Everybody else, they may be doing different things. But Prabhupada has specified cleanliness is godliness. So there is no excuse whatsoever to overlook it. Prabhupada, during his manifest pastimes, he did not tolerate it. He just did not tolerate it. I mean, so this is something that really would upset him. So there's no question of upsetting the pure devotee and thinking that we are making progress and attaining lovelium and all. This is just it is not a full manifestation of reality. There may be some that's it. So we have to do what the acharya is pleased by and is instructed. He was like that. In fact, in Mayapur, what is it? Guru Maharaj says, Prabhupada did not allow, even if it's a small paper was there on the road somewhere, he would pick up and ask, why is this paper lying on the road? No, that's our founder Acharya. So if we come in his line, then we have to be like, we have to execute what he wanted. That's ultimately you can attain love of God by pleasing the pure devotee. That is going to please Prabhupada, right? Everything else you're taking a risk. You never know where you're going to end up with.
Yes.
So it is a good fortune that you're a cleanliness freak. The only question is that I don't know how to put it. When you say freak, it means that I presume you're referring to you do more than others, correct?
No, previously I was having doing everything perfectly. Whatever I have, I want to keep that thing new.
Yeah.
Everything should be
Prabhupada,
neat and clean
when
to
somebody would
maintain
wash a vessel
everything.
in the Prabhupada, when somebody would wash vessels in the kitchen, Prabhupada would insist that it should become shining clean. Shining clean. That was the standard. So there's nothing wrong in it.
But it takes so much time, Prabhuji. So
But
I
it
can,
pleases Prabhupada. We pleases Prabhupada.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, done.
That is what it is. By that you're purifying your heart. If you just think, yes, it takes some time, but because of the fact that Prabhupada wanted things to be like that, you're going to please him and you're going to make advancement. Without a doubt, you're going to make advancement. It's a good fortune that you have that tendency. Some people don't have, but whether we have it or not, we need to develop that tendency. Prabhupada is revolutionary clean.
Thank you, Ruchi.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much. It just came up like Prabhupada wanted me to know this today because these days the weather is so dusty. You know, every day I have to clean the whole dusting part, and so it takes up lots of time. So I was just getting irritated in the morning. So what is this? Every day I have to do so extensive cleaning and all, and this is what you Prabhupada wanted me to know that you should do this. This is what it is there.
See, one more thing is that it's not necessary that everybody has to do everything by themselves. But the point is, Prabhupada wanted it to be clean. So some of you may have the privilege of having maids or whatever, but the final outcome is very important. You cannot, I mean, like, yeah, if nobody is there to do it, you do it yourself. But that outcome is very important. Yeah, especially, see, the problem happen. I mean, most of you are trained and whatever, you know, but the problem happens, I've noticed, especially with boys, or even these days, even girls who stay in hostels and all that. Like my wife was saying that hostel is all complete mess. I mean, nobody keeps anything clean, you know. So generally, the boys are very disorganized. They are the ones who have difficulties keeping things clean. But today, that is even, I mean, that's there even among the girls, especially those who live in the hostels and things like that, or even at home. They're just told to just study. That's it.
These days, this generation, you know, they don't want to get into so much of cleanliness. I just keep on saying, Tanishka, why do you wear again and same t-shirt and jeans? Why don't you give it for wash? They do not. Even in my family, the problem is there. I have to keep the clothes in the washing machine. Then they will leave it. You know. So it's my like Hari Sevani Mataji is a cleanliness freak. I am also sort of like that. I have to quarrel with them. Why don't you give your clothes? Why don't you keep this clean or like that? But it takes up lots of time.
Yeah, but especially sometimes when you have small children, it's a bit difficult, but still you should do your best. Cannot be that, okay, what to do, just forget about it. I mean, still, whatever best can be done under the circumstances should be done. Cannot be just, okay, I'll ignore this and I'll have focus on my reading and things like that. Cannot work like that.
Mukund Priya Mataji has a question.
Sorry.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dharmapram. Thank you, Prabhuji, for your guidance and all. Prabhuji, sometime here we have new devotees also in our group. So we do program in their place, and there are some devotees who's not initiated, and somehow they are not following, hygiene of eating and house and all these things. So how do
Okay.
or not include, or will it be the Vaishnava Prarth? Sometimes they are initiated devoted, but their cleaning standards and everything, Achman also is not what we are learning right now. So how we should react?
Mati, there are I think something is wrong with the
two devices, I think, kept.
What?
If there are two devices, then the eco problem comes up.
Who has got two devices? You got two devices?
I don't
I beg
have.
forgiveness. I beg forgiveness. It was me. I have muted my another device.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. See, there is something called visible cleanliness, and then there are I don't know if I should call it visible cleanliness. Like for example, according to the Vedic system, once you have prasadam or any food, you're supposed to clean your mouth some 21 times or something. I don't remember how many times it is. So Prabhupada did not insist on that level of this thing, but he didn't like dirty floors, dirty anything, no dusty, no dirty. That he didn't want. So at the same time, the food that is cooked for the Lord, of course, has to be cooked in separate vessels. But sometimes when it comes to serving rules in a house where there is a program, the food may be passed on, and I mean, Yeah, I mean, I don't know, that is a little bit of a gray area in terms of to what standard it should be maintained. At the very least, uh, there should not be any direct contamination of food, which Prabhupada did not tolerate. Like, you can't, what is it, eat with your eat, and then using your contaminated hand, you can't put your hand into something else and directly pick out some prasadam and things like that. That Prabhupada definitely did not tolerate. So those kind of things should be avoided. But regarding the rest, do your best. Okay, what do you call it? One problem is that because there's not sufficient emphasis on it, because generally everybody is busy. Like Prabhupada would say that everybody is busy preaching, right? Preaching and results, book distribution, number of devotees made, number of classes given. I mean, there's a lot of emphasis on all these things. But Prabhupada, he said, we have to boil the milk. If you don't boil the milk, if you just keep doing these other things and just try to keep on expanding Krishna consciousness, then he said that it's like pouring water. After some time, you cannot even drink the milk anymore. It's just water. So expansion and all these, what do you say? I mean, we may distribute 100 books, or we may distribute, or we may have 100, give 100 classes or 100 programs, all those things. But where are we emphasizing and training devotees in the quality of Krishna consciousness? That's very important. So while preaching is important, quality is also important. But Prabhupada stressed on both. It's very, very important that we should also maintain that. So when somebody meets Anandita Janava Mataji, they should know she will talk about preaching. She'll also talk about standards, like that. So, or yeah, they should. I mean, at least we should be living examples of that. Nobody can come to us and just talk about preaching and get away with it, or whatever. They will also talk about practicing properly, behaving properly, and maintaining proper standards. They know that if somebody they should know that if they come to us, this is what they're going to get. They'll get the emphasis will be there on preaching. I mean, spreading Krishna, of course, practicing one's own Krishna consciousness, maintaining proper standards, behaving properly with devotees, and also preaching. It cannot just be one or the other.
Ji, Prabhuji, understood. Prabhuji, I'm not judging anybody, but if some other person is not following, and if we are following, and if I not eat or
I mean,
follow
just to be
the
clear,
standard.
just to clarify, because most of these things, they say the angel lies in the details. We don't say devil lies in the details. Angel lies in the details. So I have a specific question for you, which is that you're talking about initiated devotees cooking prasad. You're talking about initiated devotees having a program in their house.
Yeah, sometime initiated also, they eat outside or these kind of thing. And if I'm not getting participate in that by putting some, excuse or something.
No,
or sometimes they feel
you're like you're talking about somebody eating prasadam outside. I mean, eating some food from outside.
Outside also, and inside house also, the standards are not being followed. So is it a Vaishnava Aparadh, or I'm still confused in what should I follow?
Means you should offend somebody. No, should offend somebody. It's not like everything is a Vaishnava. Some things are, I mean, a kind of a lower standard and a fall down kind of a thing, rather than for a devotee to eat karmi food is a fall down from the initiation vows. So I mean, it can only be done under emergency. Otherwise, it's considered a fall down. Okay, if you fall down, what you should do? Okay, next time don't do it. Try to rectify yourself. But and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Vishayera Anna Khaile Dushta Hoyaman. The mind becomes uncontrollable or wicked if you eat food cooked by non-devotees. Now, we were talking about cleanliness. That's why I got a little confused. We're talking about cleanliness. So if it's an initiated devotee who's not maintaining the standard of cleanliness, the initiated devotee will always have superiors. So you need to bring it to the attention of superiors. So there needs to be some attention in regards to the standards. So if it is new people, then you can teach by the standards. When people take to Krishna consciousness, they don't know very much, right? Like, for example, or when the people are new, they don't know very much. Like Prabhupada, when he went to the West, Prabhupada kept his prasadam articles, I mean, what is it, the boga, in a refrigerator where the owner used to keep meat, you know. So we may have to do the needful for the sake of preaching, but that does not mean that we remain only at that level. No? We need to elevate the guest or elevate the host, sorry, to the level of required level of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, Prabhuji. Understood. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Shall I read? Shall I read?
Yeah. Actually, see, we should always constantly have a sense of trying to improve ourselves. You know, first of all, we have not done millions of heaps of pious activities so to be able to attain Krishna. Somehow by costless mercy we've got. So we should constantly think. The moment we start thinking, oh, I've done this, I've done 116 rounds today, I've read today, fantastic, I'm in this thing. Nothing. This is all nothing. You know, we need to really advance to the level of prema bhakti. I mean, I'm not talking in a negative sense. Okay, we can feel happy that by Krishna's mercy we're able to do this much. But as Prabhupada would say, double it. You know, we should be constantly in that mood of trying to expand our devotion service. The moment we think that, okay, we have done this, I'm great, then we'll start thinking that other people are jealous of us, or, I mean, other people are envious of us. You know, then we get into self-absorption. Self-absorption is what we are supposed to avoid. The moment we think that we are best, then we think everybody's attention is focused on us. There's another way of being in the material world, because that's why we come to the material world, to be the best, right? So either we try to be best materially, or we try to be best Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, we are not trying to be the best. We're not trying to be the best. We are simply trying to serve. We're simply trying to serve, take shelter. And we can never be the best. I mean, because there will always be superiors to us. Vaishnavas always superior to us. And we buy, and it is the best thing is not to be the best. I said, we put it like that. I mean, the people who relish Krishna consciousness, the people who have a taste for Krishna consciousness, are those who do not think they're the best. They think there are so many great devotees, I mean, whom I need to serve and learn from. Because Krishna consciousness is an unlimited learning process. And then you can always be happy. You'll never be distressed. Distress cannot touch you. The moment you think you are not the best, there's no way distress can touch you. Because the moment you think you're not the best, then you think, okay, I need to take shelter of the devotees and Krishna. The moment you think I need to take shelter of the devotees and Krishna, Krishna becomes so pleased that you cannot be unhappy.
Prabhuji, can I ask a little question regarding this cleanliness part that we are discussing today? Harshita Mataji has a question. Let me just speak my concern. I know that it is baseless to ask that if everybody is not following in the family and you are just struggling with the cleanliness and all the Krishna, because cleanliness is the part of Krishna consciousness, right? So you are struggling with this and everybody is not at least following the basic standards, though they claim that they are Brahmin, they are born in the Brahmin family. But I'm saying for my family, generally I see that I remember from since my childhood that my mom used to say, if you have gone for a stool, you please take your bath and then come back, because else you cannot enter the kitchen or the puja ghar, because we had deities. So this is what something, engraved in our hearts since childhood. But sometimes I might have lie, or I don't know. So, but when I came to Krishna consciousness, it's the things that I was ignoring for some years or like that, it just sparkled, I just came up, no, I should do it because I was been trained like that. But, especially the male members and the elderly members are not following this. In my in-laws place, no, there's no such cleanliness part. They are eating everywhere in the sofa, or they are not taking bath every time like that. So I just feel I become very disturbed at times, though I ignore everything. So what should I do? What should I think? How should I take it?
Prabhupada said, you remember Prabhupada's sutra, think nothing of it. He would use an expression like when he was staying in Sally Agarwal's house, when that refrigerator, there used to be that meat. Prabhupada had this sutra called think nothing of it. You go on with your life.
Thank you. Okay, Harshita Mataji has a question. I think we cannot read today more.
She has a question. She has not said she has a question.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Pranam. Prabhuji, regarding this prasadam contamination, like it does happen in my house also. I've said many times that when they are eating, not to touch with those contaminated hands, but they don't listen. And even with devotees, like we were eating at Govinda's once, and there were 5-6 of us on a small table. Plates were our contaminated plates were touching each other's plates, and we had to pass something or we had to serve something, then we had to use sometimes 2 hands also. So in that case, we cannot tell the other tell any of the devotees that you go and wash your hands first. And so it didn't at that time seem practical. So in such a situation, what should we do? And second,
No. See, the thing is, okay, I got your point. See, when I am at a table at Govinda's with different devotees, and if they are using their hands to give me some food, I have no problem with it. Because, I mean, see, the point is you should not do it. That's the whole idea that I'm trying to bring up. What is there? You only can benefit. No, you don't lose by somebody touches with their hand. So what? I don't consider it to be offensive because it's Vaishnava, no? So, but I don't personally do it. I don't use my hands to give this thing to somebody else. No way. But yeah, maybe my wife, but not somebody whom I know really well, but not otherwise. So, but if somebody is using their hands and giving to us, I don't think we should make a big deal of it. Anyway, let's we see there is something called the absolute nature of prasadam also. So like when there's Govardhan Puja, which was held in Bagh Bazaar temple, there was a dog which came and ate some food from that this thing. And so everybody was disturbed. So they called Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur to decide what is to be. They requested him to come and decide. So he came and asked, where did the dog bite? So they showed the place where the dog bit, and he took from there, and he exactly where the dog bit, he took some prasadam from there and ate. Because the prasadam is absolute. That's why in Rathayatra is not, they throw prasadam, right? You can fall on the ground, so what? Prasadam is absolute. So, but when we are the host and we are organizing prasadam distribution, we have to organize it according to the standards that Prabhupada wanted us to do. That's all. But when we are in some other place and where something like this is happening, like Govinda's, it's okay. I mean, I wouldn't think so much about it.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, regarding this, where Prabhupada said, think nothing about it, can you please tell, like, where can we find it? Like, that's where he said in this.
I think it is. I mean, I'll look it up. It was there, as far as I remember, it is in regard to the Sally Agarwal, where she had kept meat. And Prabhupada would simply say, think nothing of it. There's one other instance also, something very similar to that.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. And Prabhuji, like, can you please elaborate a little on doing sadhana with the mood of taking shelter? Like, right now we don't have taste, so but we still want to do it because we want to get out, we want to follow the guru's instructions. So we do it like, okay, that this is what I have promised my spiritual master, so I will do it. This reading, I have to do reading because Prabhupada had said so, I have to do it. So can you please explain how can we transit into the mode of taking shelter, what it actually means, what should we be thinking inside our head when we are doing sadhana in the mode of taking shelter, what it means, how to apply it practically, what should be our consciousness be?
If you read, everything will come. Actually, you read, everything will come. Prabhupada says, if you just chant Hare Krishna and don't read properly, then it's possible that it could become hackneyed. You'll think, what is this Hare Krishna? So there has to be proper vidya, bhakti vidya. So once you do that, then everything else will fall in place. You have to read because you need to know what you're trying to do in life, not because the guru has said it or all these things. All that is fine, but if you don't read, reading is your life breath. You don't even know what you're doing in life. You don't read.
So, Prabhuji, many times this two things contradict, like inside the head. Like it is said that chanting is sufficient; you do not need to do anything. And then we also hear how imperative reading is. So, how to
No.
reconcile these two
These
things?
these are all completely false dichotomies which have arisen in ISKCON. There is no ambiguity whatsoever in Prabhupada's teachings. He's very clearly saying it. You have to read my books. The books have been written. For you can have, hundreds of devotees chanting Hare Krishna, but they may be fighting also, no? Because everybody may have some crazy idea of what devotional service is, right? How do you have a common idea? The only thing common that can unite everybody in ISKCON and keep the Sankirtan movement together is the books. Because you cannot have a different understanding of reading the books. Everybody can come to the same understanding, right? Otherwise, everybody will have their own understanding. Okay, I can perform Ganesh Puja. I can perform this puja. Oh, it's only a marriage ritual. Oh, it is only some external, some karmi thing. So why you should bother so much? And you end up participating in some crazy ritual. Not crazy ritual, a ritual which is against Krishna pure devotion service. And you think it's okay. But when you read the books, I cannot participate in some ritual which is going to please a demigod. I cannot be a willing participant in such a ritual. I'm just giving a simple example. Hundreds of millions of things you can do wrong if you don't read. Just by chanting Hare Krishna, it will take a long time for you to come to that stage of not committing an offenses to the holy name. But the reading is there so that you can progress very quickly on the path of. If you want to attain love of God in one lifetime, reading and chanting has to go together. In fact, in the first verse of Shashtakam, Vidya Vadu Jivanam. Vidya is the Vadu. Okay, of what? Vadu means bride. Bride of what? Bride of Harinam Sankirtan. So you need to, so when you say Radha Krishna, right? So you need to, so the books and the holy name together, they are the consorts. They are like Radha Krishna, the books and the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't come to give us only Bhakti Yoga. That's a big misconception. What does Sarva Bhattacharya say? He came to give us three things, which is Bhakti, Nija Bhakti Yoga, Vairagya Vidya, and Nija Bhakti Yoga. With Vairagya, Vidya, Nija Bhakti Yoga. Vidya is the Bhagavad Vidya. So that's why ours is the parampara of the book. Without book, you're completely lost. You can come up with any sentimental idea. You can chant 64 rounds. There are people sitting in Radhakund and chanting 64 rounds. Ex-ISKCON devotees. They're sitting in Govardhan chanting 64 rounds. Are they Rupanugas? Are they, at least, are they Prabhupadanugas? No. Just by chanting 64 rounds, you don't become something like that. So chanting, anybody can do anybody can claim that chanting is enough. But if you read, then you'll know how to chant. What is to be done? Without chanting, without reading, anytime you may fall down. The risk is very great. As Prabhupada says, okay, you'll think, what is after something, you start thinking, what is this chanting? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Prabhupada says in one place.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So in one conversation, one devotee was asking Srila Prabhupada that those people who are illiterate, they cannot read your book, so will they not go back home, back to Godhead? So Prabhupada said, no, they will go back home by chanting Hare Krishna. So how can we understand?
No. That's a misunderstanding of what, because you're trying to see, this is the problem, because if you don't read the books, this is exactly why Prabhupada did not want all these conversations to be printed. Because people will come up with all these strange ideas that, okay, therefore they can go back to Godhead. Our process is Stane Sita Shrutigatam Tanuman Manobir. So what does it mean? In the association of devotees, you hear Bhagavatam. That person also will not be able to understand, able to go back to Godhead if they don't hear Bhagavatam, the association of Godhead. That is what Prabhupada means. Not just by chanting. So they cannot, so what? They can hear, right? They can hear.
Yes.
Prabhupada does not give an exception to anybody. You know, they have to hear. This way that not hearing is not an option. They have to hear from a Bhagavata. If you don't hear from a Bhagavata, you will not have an conception of what you're chanting for. You cannot remove ignorance just like that, you know. You have to practice devotion service under the guidance of somebody. And when you practice devotion service under the guidance of somebody, that guidance involves removing your false conceptions of bhakti. That false conception can be removed either by oral instruction or by instructions in the written form. But the false conceptions have to be removed. If you do not remove the false conceptions, you may chant Hare Krishna and think that the name of Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma or anybody is equal to Krishna. And if you chant with that conception, how are you going to attain love of God? And how are you going to know that they're different unless somebody gives you that instruction?
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Pranam.
So whenever you read an instruction that chanting Hare Krishna is enough, you think something is wrong with you. You're not read all of Prabhupada's books, so therefore you're thinking that only that is enough. That is not enough for, out of a billion trillion people, it may not be enough for, it may be enough just for one person in a billion or trillion. That's what it means. That person may not have I mean, that, anyway, because of that faith that they were chanting Hare Krishna. That faith also, I mean, when somebody gives you the somebody has given you the chanting, right? So when the chanting is given, that spiritual master may instruct. This mantra is, some instruction will be given. And that person has full faith in only that and nothing else. And if they chant, they may attain love of God. That's 1 in a billion or 1 in a trillion. The remaining billion trillion people have to, read the Bhakti Shastras. Bhakti Shastra is not some jnana. It is a function of Chit Shakti. It's a function of Chit Shakti. It's not just some jnana. Jnana is a function of the mind. But Bhakti is a function of the Chit Shakti. You know, the Bhakti Shastras is the awareness of Krishna. It is a function of the Chit Shakti.
So, Prabhuji, then how can we develop absolute faith in chanting like that? Yes, Hare Krishna will take me back. Chanting this Hare Krishna will take me back. If other things are also needed, like how to develop then absolute faith in this process of chanting, like primarily it is the chanting process. That is what I have heard you. Please clear.
You develop that faith by reading.
Okay. Okay.
You develop that faith by reading and hearing from devotees who are steeply absorbed in the practice. You need both the book Bhagavata and the living Bhagavata. So you read the book Bhagavata and hear from the person Bhagavata, then you develop faith in the holy name.
Okay. Okay.
Both are important.
And Prabhuji, how do we understand that chanting is the limb of bhakti that includes all the other limbs?
What? Sorry?
Chanting is the limb of bhakti that includes all the other 9 limbs.
No, it doesn't say that. No? Prabhupada only says that out of the 9 limbs of bhakti, show me a specific reference, I'll have to look at it. But from whatever I know, I have studied, Prabhupada only says that any one element is enough. And he says out of the 9 elements of 9 practices of bhakti, now with the bhakti, hearing and chanting are the most important. Where does it say that this includes all the other limbs of bhakti? Maybe
I don't remember the reference, but if I come across it, I will post it. If I don't remember the exact.
Anybody else remembers that?
No, Prabhuji, I haven't heard this. Whatever you said, I heard this. Because every Shravanam and Kirtanam are the prominent ones, and anyone can go back by practicing one limb perfectly. You said what I heard, only whatever you said. I do not agree with any other things that Harshita Mataji is saying.
No, you can't say you can't agree because what if she has read somewhere? So we'll have to see what the reference.
I want to, if you permit me, I want to tell you 2-3 things that I recently heard and heard from the mouth of Prabhupada himself. There is one video of Prabhupada. It was very viral these days, in which he was stressing on book reading. I'm writing day and night. I'm doing so much of labor. I'm spending so much of time. Why don't you read? Why don't you read? He was just chastising in that video. And in fact, in one of the conversation, I do not remember exactly, but I have heard from the devotees many times that Prabhupada asked some of his disciples that, tell me, why have I written so many books? Then everybody was saying this, that, like that. Then Prabhupada didn't agree with anybody's answers. And he said, no, I have written all the books just because that you can chant nicely. You can chant nicely. This is what I've heard, and it was fully convincing that without reading Prabhupada's book, the conviction for chanting will not come.
Yes, Prabhuji, I've also heard this, that that Prabhupada said, I've written all these books to convince you of chanting Hare Krishna. Yes, I've also heard this in one conversation.
Yeah, I mean, see, Prabhupada was using his own physical presence. He was very critical of the fact that the devotees are not reading his books. You're thinking that this book is only for distributing, but also for reading.
Yes. Once some devotees, some of his disciples were going for book distribution, and he asked that, do you know what is written in that book? Then they said, no, we haven't read. Then he chastised, if you haven't read, then how will you convince others to buy these books? So Prabhupada's books is like, for me itself, for me personally, I feel like without reading, even I will not have the conviction to chant the next day. Though I may not read sometimes, but this is what I feel.
One who does not think that reading Prabhupada's books is important is not a follower of Prabhupada at all in the first place. Because Prabhupada says, if you want to know me, read my books. You know. So what line are we if we cannot even read it? I mean, of course, at least one should have the desire. One is not able to, that's a different thing. But if one does not have even the desire or the understand the importance of it, Prabhupada said, if you really want to know me, read my books. It's like,
True. So true.
okay. So we can continue for some more time. Radhakishri Mati, we can continue for some more time, right? Reading.
Yes, Prabhuji, kindly. Please.
Okay. Please continue.
Okay. There is a description of Krishna's feeling for his Vayasyas in Vrindavan. He once said to Balram, my dear brother, when my companions were being devoured by Aghasur, hot tears poured down from my eyes. And as they were washing my cheeks, my dear elder brother, for at least one moment, I completely lost myself. Within Gokul, Krishna's Vayasyas are generally divided into 4 groups: well-wishers, friends, confidential friends, and intimate friends. Krishna's well-wisher friends are a bit older than Krishna, and they have some parental affection for him. Because of their being older than Krishna, they always try to protect him from any harm. As such, they sometimes bear weapons so that they can chastise any mischievous person who want to do harm to Krishna. Counted among the well-wisher friends are Subhadra, Mandali Bhadra. Okay, this Subhadra, there is a note not to be confused with Krishna's sister Subhadra. He is somebody else. Mandali Bhadra, Bhadra Vardhan, Go Bhat, Yaksh, Indra Bhat, Bhadrang, Veerabhadra, Mahagun, Vijay, and Balbhadra. They are older than Krishna and are always thinking of his welfare. One of the elderly friends said, my dear Mandali Bhadra, why are you wielding a shining sword as though you were running toward Arishtasur to kill him? My dear Baldev, Why are you unnecessarily bearing that heavy plow? My dear Vijay, don't be unnecessarily agitated. My dear Bhadravardhan, there's no need to make these threatening motions. If you all if you will all look more closely, you will see that it is only a thunder cloud upon Govardhan Hill. It is not the Arishtasur in the shape of a bull, as you have imagined. These older well-wisher friends of Krishna had imagined a large cloud to be the Arishtasur, appearing in the shape of a huge bull. In the midst of their excitement, one of them ascertained that it was actually only a cloud on Govardhana hill. He therefore informed the others not to take the trouble of worrying about Krishna because there was no present danger from Arishtasur. Among the well-wisher friends, Mandali Bhadra and Balabhadra are the chiefs. Mandali Bhadra is described as follows. His complexion is yellowish and his dress is very attractive. He always carries a stick of various colors. He wears a peacock feather on his head and always looks very beautiful. Mandali Bhadra's attitude is revealed in this statement. My dear friends, our beloved Krishna is now very tired from working with the cows in the pasturing grounds and from traveling all over the forest. I can see that he is very fatigued. Let me massage his head silently while he is taking rest in his house. And you, Subala, you just massage his thighs. One devotee described the personal beauty of Baldev as follows. Let me take shelter of the lotus feet of Balram, whose beauty is enhanced by the earrings touching his cheeks. His face is decorated with tilak made of kasturi musk, and his broad chest is decorated with a garland of gunja, small conchs. His complexion is as white as autumn cloud. He wears garments of blue color, and his voice is very grave. His arms are very long, touching his thighs, and he has shown his great strength by killing the Pralamba demon. Let me take shelter of this chivalrous Balram. Baldev's affection for Krishna is illustrated in this statement to Subala. My dear friend, please inform Krishna not to go to Kalia's lake today. Today is his birthday, and so I wish to go along with Mother Yashoda to bathe him. Tell him he should not leave the house today. This shows how Balram, Krishna's elder brother, took care of Krishna with parental love within the scope of fraternal affection. Friends who are younger than Krishna, who are always attached to him and who give him all kinds of service are called ordinary friends or simply friends. Such ordinary friends are called sakhas, and the name of some sakhas are Vishal, Rishab, Ojasvi, Devaprastha, Varuthap, Marand, Kusuma, Pid, Manibandh, and Karandham. All of these Sakha friends of Krishna seek only to serve him. Sometimes some of them would rise early in the morning and immediately go to Krishna's place and wait at the door to see Krishna and to accompany him to the pasturing grounds. In the meantime, Krishna would be dressed by Mother Yashoda, and when she would see a boy standing at the door, she would call him, Well, Vishal, why are you standing here? Come here. So, with the permission of Mother Yashoda, he would immediately enter the house. And while Mother Yashoda was dressing Krishna, he would try to help put on Krishna's ankle bells, and Krishna would jokingly strike him with his flute. Then Mother Yashoda would call Krishna, What is this? Why are you teasing your friend? And Krishna would laugh, and the friend would also laugh. These are some of the activities of Krishna's sakhas. Sometimes the sakhas would take care of the cows who were going hither and thither. They would tell Krishna, Your cows were going off here and there, and Krishna would thank them. Sometimes when Krishna and sakhas went to the pasturing ground, Kansa would send a demon to kill Krishna. Therefore, almost every day there was a fight with some different kind of demon. After fighting with a demon, Krishna would feel fatigued. His hairs on his head would be scattered, and the sakhas would immediately come and try to relieve him in different ways. Some friends would say, "My dear Vishal, please take this fan of lotus leaves and fan Krishna so that he may feel some comfort. Varutha, you just brush the scattered hairs on Krishna's head, which have fallen upon his face. Rishabh, don't talk unnecessarily. Immediately massage Krishna's body. His arms have become tired from fighting and wrestling with that demon. Oh, just see how our friend Krishna has become tired. These are some examples of the treatment given to Krishna by the Sakhas. There are 2.5 pages left. Should I read the whole?
Radhakrishna Madhuri,
Yes, Prabhuji.
what should be done?
Prabhuji, it depends on if you'd like to explain this, what we just read.
No, I think explanation, I think I'm a little bit short of breath. So I will reserve it for next class.
Okay, okay. Yeah, then we can continue reading and just complete this.
Okay, we'll finish this. Okay, fine. And I'll speak on this the next class.
Okay.
Can I read?
Okay.
Thank you. One of the sakhas known as Devaprastha is described as follows. He is very strong, a ready scholar, and is very expert in playing ball. He wears a white dress and he ties his hair into a bunch with a rope. Whenever there is a fighting between Krishna and the demons, Devaprastha is first to help and he fights just like an elephant. One of the gopis once said to her friend, "My dear beautiful friend, when Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, was taking rest within the cave of a hill, he was keeping his head on the arms of Sridham and he was putting his left hand on the Dam's chest. Taking this opportunity, Devaprastha, out of his strong affection for Krishna, immediately began to massage his legs. Such are the activities of Krishna's friends out on the pasturing grounds. The more confidential friends are called Priya Sakhas and are almost Krishna's age. Because of their very confidential friendship, their behavior is only on the basis of pure friendship. The behavior of other friends is on the ground of parental love or servitude. But the basic principle of the confidential friends is simply friendship on an equal level. Some confidential friends are as follows: Sridham, Sudam, Dama, Vasudama, Kinkini, Stokrishna, Anshu, Bhadrasen, Vilasi, Pundrika, Vittanka, and Kalavinka. By their various activities in different pastimes, all of these friends used to give transcendental pleasure to Krishna. The behavior of these confidential friends is described by a friend of Radharani who told Radharani, "My dear graceful Radharani, your intimate friend Krishna is also served by his intimate boyfriends. Some of them cut jokes with him in mild voices and please him very much by this. For example, Krishna had one Brahman friend whose name was Madhumangal. This boy would joke by playing the part of a greedy Brahmana. Whenever the friends ate, he would eat more than all others, especially laddus, of which he was very fond. Then, after eating more laddus than anyone else, Madhumangal would still not be satisfied and he would say to Krishna, if you give me one more laddu, then I shall be pleased to give you my blessing so that your friend Radharani will be very much pleased with you. The Brahmanas are supposed to give blessings to Vaishyas, farming and merchant caste. And Krishna presented himself as the son of Maharajananda, a Vaishya. So the Brahmana boy was right in giving blessing to Krishna. Thus, Krishna was very pleased by his friend's blessing, and he would supply him with more and more laddus. Sometimes a confidential friend would come before Krishna and embrace him with great affection and love. Another friend would then come up from a rear and cover Krishna's eyes with his hands. Krishna would always feel very happy by such dealings with his confidential friends. Out of all these confidential friends, Sridham is considered to be the chief. Sridham used to put on a yellow colored dress. He would carry a buffalo horn, and his turban was of a reddish copper color. His bodily complexion was blackish, and around his neck there was a nice garland. He would always challenge Krishna in joking friendship. Let us pray to Sridham to bestow his mercy upon us. Sometimes Sridham used to address Krishna. Oh, you are so cruel that you left us alone on the bank of Yamuna, and we were all mad from not seeing you there. Now it is our great fortune that we are able to see you here. If you want to pacify us, you must embrace each one of us with your arms. But believe me, my dear friend, a moment's absence from you creates great havoc, not only for us, but for the cows also. Everything becomes dis everything becomes disarranged, and we become mad after you. There are another friends who are still more confidential. They are called Priya Narma or intimate friends. Counted among the Priya Narma friends are Subal, Arjun, Gandharv, Vasant, and Ujjvala. There was talk among the friends of Radharani. There was talk among the friends of Radharani, the gopis, about these most intimate friends. One gopi addressed Radharani thus, my dear Krishangi, delicate one, just see how Subal is whispering your message into Krishna's ear. How he is delivering the confidential letter of Shyamadasi silently into Krishna's hand. How he is delivering the betel nuts prepared by Palika into Krishna's mouth, and how he is decorating Krishna with a garland prepared by Taraka. Did you know, my dear friend, that all these most intimate friends of Krishna are always engaged in his service in this way? Out of many intimate Priya Dharmas, Subal and Ujjwal are considered to be the most prominent. Subal's body, Krishna. Subal's body is described as follows. His complexion is just like a molten gold. He is very, very dear to Krishna. He always has a garland around his neck and he wears yellow clothing. His eyes are just like lotus flower petals, and he is so intelligent that by his talking and his normal instructions, all the other friends take the highest pleasure. Let us all offer our respectful obeisances unto Krishna's friend Subala. The degree of intimacy shared by Krishna and Subala can be understood by the fact that the talks between them were so confidential that no one else could understand what they were saying. The description of Ujjwala, oh Krishna, the degree, the degree, oh sorry, the description of Ujjwala, another intimate friend, is given as follows. Ujjwala always wears some garment of orange color, and the movements of his eyes are always very restless. He likes to decorate himself with all kinds of flowers. His bodily hue is almost like Krishna's, and on his head there is a crown of flowers. So let us all worship Ujjwala, the most intimate friend of Krishna. About the confidential service of Ujjwala, this statement is to be found addressed by Radharani to one of her friends. My dear friend, it is impossible for me to keep my prestige. I wanted to avoid talking to Krishna anymore. But just see, there again is his friend Ujjwala coming to me with his canvassing work. His in, entreaties are so powerful that it is very difficult for a gopi to resist her love for Krishna. Even though she may be very bashful devotee to her family duties and most faithful to her husband. The following is a statement by Ujjwala showing his jubilant nature. My dear Krishna, Gasur, you have extended your loving affair so much that you can compare to a great ocean, which is without limitations. At the same time, the young girls of the world who are all searching after the perfect lover have become just like rivers running into the ocean, running into this ocean. Under these circumstances, all these rivers of young girls may try to divert their courses to some other place, but at the end, they must come unto you. Among the different among the groups of different friends of Krishna, some are well known from various scriptures and some are well known by popular tradition. There are three divisions among Krishna's friends. Some are eternally in friendship with Krishna, some are elevated demigods, and some are perfected devotees. In, in all of these groups, there are some who by nature are fixed in Krishna's service and are always engaged in giving counsel. Some of them are very fond of joking and naturally cause Krishna to smile by their words. Some of them are by nature very simple, and by their simplicity, they please Lord Krishna. Some of them create wonderful situations by their activities apparently against Krishna. Some of them are very talkative, always arguing with Krishna and creating a debating atmosphere. And some of them are very gentle and give pleasure to Krishna by their sweet words. All of these friends are very intimate with Krishna and they show expertise in their different activities. Their aim always being to please Krishna.
Jai. Okay. So we'll resume again next Thursday. Thank you all for joining. I mean, I would have preferred to speak a little bit more, but I mean, I need to conserve my breath a little bit. Okay. So, yeah.
So actually, last week also you mentioned that you will say something this week, if I remember correctly.
Okay. So could you, just remind me next week together. I'll.
Sure.
At the beginning of the class, remind me so that I can say it.
Yeah, I didn't remember it till then. Now I remember. Yes, sure.
Okay. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasinduvaischa pattanam pavanebhyo vaishnavyo. So Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Gaur Premanand.